The book I have chosen to read is Entwined by Heather Dixon. It is a retelling of The 12 Dancing Princesses with a twist. I chose this book because it is one of my favorites and is usually my go-to for any book project. I forgot to mention something. Uh-oh, said a voice in her head. There is, going to be a proposal, you know, said the king. Azalea nearly leapt out of her boots with delight. She spun around the king, her feet lithe as springs. I rather suspected, she said, laughing and hopping at the same time. Well, hoped, really. I mean, now that he's running for Parliament and everything, and Bramble and Clover are already engaged, and... She stopped mid-spin at the king's expression. Azalea, said the king. He's not going to be the one proposing. The springs in Azalea's feet went boing. Sorry, she said. You outrank him, you know. The king shifted, uncomfortable. It would be highly inappropriate for him to propose to you. The queen had to propose. I will do no such thing, said Azalea. As, said the king in a firmer tone. Come now, follow the rules. Besides, it is your chance to have the final say, is it not? I always have the final say, said Azalea. How horrifically unromantic. Well, do you want me to send him away? No, don't do that. Go to it, said the king, pushing her through the ballroom doors. He nearly closed them on her skirts in his rush to shut them. Azalea turned around in a whip of crinolines and kicked the door. Thanks a lot, she said. A polite laugh sounded behind her. Azalea turned to the marble dance floor, seeing the highlights of sun against the new gilded mirrors and the crisp light cast over Mr. Bradford. Wearing a fine suit, he looked the most uniform Azalea had ever seen him. His blonde and brown hair, however, remained incorrigibly mussed. He clutched his hat, kneading the rim, and beamed at her. Princess, he said. Captain, said Azalea, hugging the door behind her. She beamed at him, giddiness tickling her. It was all she could do to keep from giggling. You look pretty, as always, he said. Azalea grinned, deciding not to remind him that the last times he had seen her, she had been soaked, frozen, unconscious, and a torn mess of the undead. Remembering the task at hand, Azalea's smile flickered, and she swallowed. She remained hugging the ballroom doors, the latches pressing against her back. Mr. Bradford, she said, I'm not going to propose to you. The twinkle in Mr. Bradford's eyes faded. So did his smile. He managed to keep it on his face, though. It looked painful. Oh, he said. Mr. Bradford? Yes? Would you mind it so very much if, you proposed to me? The light in Mr. Bradford's eyes jumped to life. He beamed so largely it almost wasn't crooked. If you want, he said. He walked to Azalea, put her hand on his arm, and escorted her to the middle of the ballroom. Azalea's boots clicked across the marble. Before anything, he said, as he brought her around to face him, I want to give you this. It was a silver handkerchief, supple and soft, just as Mother's had been. In the corner were the embroidered initials A.K.W. Azalea laughed and cried at once. She threw her arms around Mr. Bradford's neck, wanting to embrace him so deeply she could feel his soul. Yes, she said. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I never actually said anything. Thanks for listening.